Okie doke, welcome. So we are learning a spin at the moment, turn around in a circle. Now unfortunately Lola already knows how to do a spin, so it's not a true learning experience, full disclosure, but I don't have another dog, so we're going to use Lola to demonstrate. So we are going to want the end result for us to go spin and our dog to turn around in a circle. I only do this one way with Lola, she goes clockwise, but you can do an opposite way if you want. Just teach it early on so your dog doesn't become really dependent in only going one way. We are going to be using luring, so using a piece of food to encourage our dog into a body position, and we're going to be using her marker, one of her markers, which is a yes. So a yes in a short, sharp, high tone of voice, which means to her, that's exactly what I wanted you to do. Now I'm going to give you the treat. We are going to do 5 lured repetitions, have a little break, then 1 lured and 4 with fading out the lure. So using the exact same hand movement, but with no piece of food in our hand. We still say yes, and that piece of food will come from the hand behind our back. Once we can guarantee that she'll do that movement just based on our hand signal, then we can add in the word spin and gradually begin to make that hand signal, which will initially be like this, smaller and smaller and smaller until this desired signal that we want. Yes, hello, good girl. So I've just got some treats up here. So the reinforcements we're using are really tiny, teeny little pieces of chicken. They're very, very small, and she's obviously keen on them. She wants to eat them. So we're starting off, she has to be standing up to do this. So because she sits all the time, we can either use that lure to get her to stand up, or we can just throw some food out of there to get her to stand up as well. So what I'm going to be doing is using that piece of food and drawing, yes, a big circle around. So be aware that you're not reaching over your dog too much. So you see how I'm kind of leaning back, yes, on my back foot a little bit. And as I said, she's very, very keen to sit down all of the time. Good doggy. So I'm going to do 3 more repetitions using that lure. Dropped a little bit, yeah. Yes. Yeah, do. Yes. And last one. Puppy. Yes. Good. So when we're placing that lure, be aware of where you're doing it. So if I do it too high, she's probably going to sit because she thinks that I'm luring her into a sit. If I do it too low, like really, really low, she might lie down, but I'd rather have it a little bit below her nose level than above. So this is at too low, which doesn't really do anything. So a really low lure, yes, she still achieves it. If I do it, let's get her to stand up, a little bit too high, so if this is her nose level, if I do it here, she's just going to sit down. So nose level and a little bit below. Let's give that a crack with the lure 5 times. So the second step is fading out the lure. So getting rid of that piece of food in our hand. We still say yes or mark our dogs after they've done the behaviour, and we still give them a little treat. But what we don't have is that piece of food in our hand that's moving. So I've got these little pieces of chicken that I'll put in my other hand behind my back, and then I've got nothing in this hand. Now because you're starting off as a new trick, we've just had a little break from training, we're going to do 1 lured and then 4 non-lured. So let's give that a go. So the first one, we're going to have a treat in that hand. Yes. Now I've got nothing in that hand, but I've got some in this hand behind my back, ready to go. Now she's not going to play ball. a treat. Yes. 2 more. Yes. And 1 more. Yes. Good. We're finished. So see how she still follows my hand even though I had no piece of food in it. So we're going to do 1 more lured one and then 4 without the lure. We're not saying anything yet, we're just getting that behaviour going. Now I want you to practice that a few times. So do, please meet you, with your fading out the lure, do that in sets of 5, 3 or 4 times, so 15 or 20 times, until you can pretty much guarantee that your dog is going to do it based on that hand signal. Once you're really confident they will, I'm confident Lola can, I'm going to add in that word as I do the hand signal. So the word that we use is spin. So again, I don't have the treats in the hand that's moving, they're in the other hand ready to go. Meow. Spin. Yes. They come from the other hand from behind my back. Yes. Good. She's showing off now. Over this way, Bunnykins. Okay. Good girl. Spin. Yes. Spin. Yes. Oh, dropped it. Spin. Yes. Yeah. So we can do that as many times as we like, really. I usually go in sets of 5. And then what we can start to do is make that hand signal more subtle. So we don't have to do that massive circle every time we do it. Be aware that you're not going from 0 to 10, or from 10 to 0, I guess, that you're not going from massive to tiny too quickly. It's going to be a really subtle change. So it might be that your first change, is from this, yes, to this, spin, yes, this, pick it, spin, yes. I've run out of treats. And eventually, depending on where you want it, it can be like this, spin. Good girl. I don't know why she sits at the end. Spin. Yes. She's so lazy, but I don't mind. Good girl. All done. So luring 5 times, fading out the lure, so not having a treat in the hand that's moving, 1 lured, and then 5 or 4 fade outs. Add the verbal cue, and then make that hand movement more and more subtle. All right, post below how you're going.